got the, and it's the monkey. Hey, the monkey. And are we live already? That's great. Look at that. I don't know what that is.
That's a dog.
That's a, oh, it's a little puppy. Look, here's some Chinese food.
Chinese food. Thanks, Joe. What else you got? Got anything for takeout?
Yeah, hand sanitizer. Don't drink it though.
That's useful though. Thank you, Joe.
You should drink this instead. It's water.
Ooh, that's what. Are you sure that's water? It looks a little blue. It could be chlorine.
Did somebody take my Lucky Charms? Yes, they took my Lucky Charms. They're always after me, Lucky Charms.
Nice. They're always after me, Lucky Charms. But tricks are for kids.
That's not it.
That's how it goes, right, guys?
Silly rabbit. Tricks are for kids. That's a rabbit. That's not the leprechaun.
Yeah, silly rabbit. They're always taking me Lucky Charms.
You're mixing them up, Ryan. Like,
are you sure?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's the same commercial.
Yeah, but we're just showing everybody
Hearts,
how old
darts,
we
and
are.
horseshoes, bananas, and some strawberries. Pots of gold and rainbows, and me red blueberries. Shapes.
Red blueberries.
Shapes. That's how it goes, right? And then he's like, silly rabbit, they're always taking me Lucky Charms.
Nope, the rabbit's not.
Yeah, and at the end, their slogan is like, they're pretty good.
They're pretty good. Anybody else, when you eat Lucky Charms, you just eat the marshmallows and leave the rest of it?
There's no marshmallows in that.
Well,
you're thinking tricks. Just kidding. Okay. Yes.
Thank you, Dagger. Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Marshmallows.
Yes, Akil.
Because the other cereal, I mean, what's that for?
Yeah, what is that doing for you? Like it's just more sugars and carbs. Why not just eat straight sugars?
Just might as well just pour a bunch of marshmallows and some milk and eat it. That's what the kids eat out of the Lucky Charms. They don't eat the other stuff.
Yeah.
I think I'm sure most of you were probably good kids and you ate your Lucky Charms, all of the cereal too. I always picked out the marshmallows because I tried the cereal part. I was like, that's kind of nasty.
I would actually eat the cereal first entirely so that I had nothing but marshmallows and milk at the end. And then I would eat all the marshmallows and milk. That's what I would do.
But if you wait, though, they get all soggy and nasty, and they get like slimy.
I like that.
Oh, okay, good.
I just ate the marshmallows. Yeah, I think a lot of people did. Yeah. I liked them both. I like the cereal and the marshmallows, but I didn't like them together. I liked the marshmallows separately.
Yes.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch, man.
That's good cereal. That and Golden Grams was pretty good too.
I like Golden Grams. Yep. My brother's favorite was Golden Grams for a long time. At least I think it was his favorite. He liked it a lot for sure.
Yeah.
So
dry cereal is good.
Yeah. I like putting. I don't really eat cereal anymore. Most of the time, I get like cereal that you can put in yogurt. If I'm eating cereal, it's because I'm making a parfait.
Like Bran Buds.
I guess you could put that in there. I usually go with something like granola, like honey covered oats, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, okay.
Maybe like
that's way better.
What I like to do is I like to throw some blueberries in a cup and microwave them with some sugar on top, and then throw my yogurt on top of that. It's really good. So, anyways, welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday, the Friday edition, where we apparently talk about Don't Fret Friday food. And today's topic is cereal with an F in the front because it's Friday.
Yep. This show is sponsored by the word cereal.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe. Okay. No, this is Don't Worry Wednesday. You know what this show is. A lot of you have been here before. This is the show where we talk about not food, but whatever's on your mind that's worrying you, not just food. If you're worried about food, you can feel free to talk about that, though, of course.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, Joe has experience with his child having tree nut allergies, so I mean that's the thing.
Yeah,
So
that'll change your life right there.
yep.
When you get a kid with a severe allergy that could kill them, it's like,
yep.
whoa.
And all of a sudden, your whole everything is different because you got to go shopping different. A lot of recipes are different, things like that. So,
yep.
So yeah, obviously we can't talk about that, but more importantly, this is about you guys, whatever is going on in your lives. And we're just here to be a friend to share it. We're not professional police officers or psychologists, psychiatrists, or anything along that sort. So take all of our wisdom and ideas and suggestions with a grain of salt. Thank you, Joe. And no, keep on going. I wasn't done. Make sure you watch Joe's every move because he is the most beautiful man in the world. There you go. Yeah. So anyways, we've got a list going on here. Feel free to post in the chat or on the website, or send us an email at bss or dww@bss.studio. If you want to remain anonymous. But yeah, let's hop into this. What do you say, Joe?
Yeah, we can jump right in.
Let's jump right in. All right. So I'm going to go through a list of names. If you're here, feel free to drop a yo, what's up, your mama dat in the chat, and we will get to you. If you need to figure out how to write that, yo, what's up with your mama dat, it's spelled T-R-O, and that's the number O and a K. So just like that, Trock. That's how you. Sorry, I mean, yo, what's up, your mama dat?
That's yo, what's up with your mama dat.
Yep. Feel free to type that. So Sumner Kagan, John Doe, Man Left Behind, Eric Bodine, Caffrey, Rain Knight, Martin, yo, what's up, your mama dat, Cherry, Mark Anthony, Rosie, Wheatley, Cherry, okay, Kendra, and Matt, also known as Swilk.
Swilk.
It's good to see his name on here.
You type what's up with your mama dat, it's spelled TR0K.
Yeah, TR0K.
Yeah.
Oh, we got Kendra. Kendra's trocking. Kendra's trocking in the chat. She's here.
Yeah.
What up, yo, mom, dad? I like that. That's the nice abbreviated version.
WYMD. Yeah. It's kind of like WebMD, but not quite.
Williamed. How are you? We're doing awesome over here, Princess. I'm sure she's doing great too. She'll respond to you. How are you doing, Geldor? It's nice to see you here in the chat. This is cool.
Yeah.
So from the responses I got, it looks like we've got Cherry up first.
And we've got Kendra here too.
And Kendra's here too. So we'll start with Cherry. They're first in line here. We'll throw it over to see who's next, but I'm sure it'll be Kendra after that. So let's go for it. All right. So this is from Kendra, who on the website.
Which one are we doing though?
Inspiration Part 2.
There's 2 of them.
Yep.
We're doing Inspiration Part 2.
Yep. We're calling this. So Cherry, you named this Inspiration, but you actually had a post not even like a month ago, maybe a month ago, that was also titled Inspiration. So we retitled yours to be Inspiration Part 2.
Ooh,
so
I like your new avatar too.
Yeah, your new avatar is really cool looking. I like it.
Radioactive.
Yeah. So this is Inspiration from Cherry. On the website, it's being called Wheatley, and it reads as follows.
And here's a link.
Another, hopefully final topic about this issue because my mind can't rest. Upon reevaluating everything, I have discovered that I really do thoroughly enjoy making music. It's not just for others' appraisal and recognition, but it makes me happy making it. At the time of originally writing this post, I was discouraged from making music because recently someone had told me I was horrible at singing and that I sucked. Looking back, I'm completely able to realize now that they probably didn't actually mean what they said, but were probably in a bad spot at the time. After all, I'm pretty sure I wasn't the only one who was told that. Now, having recovered, I do enjoy making music for my own interest just as much as for others' interest. And I think the real issue here isn't what I should do. I'd love to be able to tell the stories I have, tell the stories I have through music, but I just haven't exactly figured out how. I think the realist issue is rather how to stay inspired while making music when I feel burnt out and like I've peaked. It's a question I've had way before I even had this back and forth of what I want to pursue. So, how do I stay inspired making music? As someone with ADD whose mind is constantly running place to place, when feeling burnt out and as if I've reached my peak.
Mm.
Yeah. So ultimately, the question here is, how do you stay inspired to write music, despite everything that goes on around you, despite your own personal interests dying out? Yeah. So it's a good question. I think it's a question, of course, we've had in this, we've had in Don't Worry Wednesday before. It's a question that happens to everybody. It's not necessarily just with music, it's with everything in life. Whether it be something that you really like doing or even things that you just absolutely don't enjoy doing at all. Having the ability to stay inspired, having the ability to keep on going, despite your own personal emotions or thoughts or what other people have to say about it, things like that. There's all sorts of things that can get in our way, right? So, yeah, good topic. Thanks for posting, Sherry. We appreciate you, and hopefully we can do this topic justice. Give you some concrete responses that compel you forward, and something you can take with you for the rest of your life, and help you just stay on track. But yeah, so with that, without further ado, I'm going to give it to the star of the show, Jesse. Or sorry, nope, just kidding. Joe.
Jesse, you ready?
Jesse, go for it. Yeah, can they hear you?
Did they hear that? Oh, dang it, man!
Come on, man. That'd be awesome. Yeah,
Jesse's
Jesse
our producer. Like he's the guy who
Sorry.
turns us off and on again, or
He
actually
is, yep.
on and off again.
Yeah, and he tells us when we've been talking too long.
Yeah,
No,
he
so it's
does.
great. Okay. Yeah, I'm ready to go over to Joe.
Okay, cool. Wow, thank you so much for the topic. And yeah, there's so much I can jump on in this. I love it because I know exactly how you feel. I've experienced a lot of this myself. And probably if you ask any professional musician, any successful professional musician, they've experienced all of this stuff as well. And it's kind of part of the deal. Everything has an ebb and a flow to it. Everything kind of, we go in waves. We go in waves of inspiration and productivity and everything, and then we go through times of just drought where we're like, ugh. And when you're going through those times of drought, it's kind of like, am I ever going to get back up and do this again? I'm ever going to like doing this again? Because sometimes it can get to the point where it's almost drudgery. I can remember when I was practicing, I was my senior year of high school. I was doing some really majorly difficult stuff in music. I was writing an orchestral piece. I was also preparing for all of my college auditions because I was going to be a music major in percussion. And so I had all these auditions that I had to do. I was also going to be auditioning for the MSU marching band, which that was a pretty big deal to me in our local area. That like that's a pretty prestigious deal. So there were a lot of things going on, and so I was practicing nonstop. Like anytime I was not at school, I was practicing, and half the time I was at school, I was practicing or writing or whatever. I mean, it was just constant. And I could remember I remember getting to this point. It was like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night, and I was still in the band room because the band director would let me just stay and practice, and he would hang out and whatever. And I was just practicing all this stuff, and there was other extracurricular activities going on at the school. So there were other people at the school too. And so I just was there. And I just was like, what in the heck am I doing? This is ridiculous. Like, I was seriously burning out.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a goal. And so that's one of the first things I want to speak to. How do you stay inspired? One way is to have a goal. One way is to have something like tangible. Like, I'm not saying just like I want to be a good musician one day. Like in this case, I had state solo and ensemble, I had college auditions, and I had to wrap up this piece. And so I had multiple goals that I was like, these got to be done. And there's an actual deadline. I can see there's a date that these things are happening in public, right? And so I need to be prepared for them. And so that was one of the things that drove me. Sometimes, depending on your personality, you may be driven by that or you may not be. Personally, I am. But for someone with ADD like you have, I would probably recommend, if you're playing, if you have a goal, and then you're playing, set a timer for like a half an hour or maybe an hour if you can, but set a timer and have it go off. And when it goes off, you're done practicing or you're done doing that. And you're going to take a break. However long you decide, however long of a break you need to take. Maybe it's 5 minutes, maybe it's 10 minutes, maybe it's not even a time. Maybe it's just like, okay, I'm going to stop now and then I'm going to pick it up in a little while. And then set a timer, continually set timers, because then what you're going to do is you're going to kind of trick yourself. You're going to be able to say to yourself, okay, I don't have very much time. I have a limited amount of time here. And so what ends up happening is you end up kind of forcing the inspiration, because a lot of us think we need to be inspired in order to get to work, when actually it's the opposite. You actually get to work and then the inspiration comes as the result. Like, they go hand in hand, working and inspiration. Yes. But if you're not inspired to get to work, you can start working and the inspiration follows, right? And so that's one of the cool things. And that's why I highly recommend the setting a timer and saying, you know what? Even if it's drudgery right now, even if it's awful, it's going to be over in 30 minutes. Right? And I did that for a couple weeks. I don't know, a year ago or something. And I was just like, okay, I'm just going to make this a priority. I have all this other crazy stuff going on. I'm going to make music a priority for 30 minutes a day, and I'm going to set a timer. And then when it goes off, I have to be done, because I've got all these other things that I have to do. Right? So I only have this window. And then over the course of a few weeks, I ended up putting together the ideas and the structures for like 7 new songs. And I was like, wow. I mean, I didn't write any lyrics because I'm not very good at writing lyrics at this point in my life. That's something that I need to work to get better at. But I was able to figure out like the chord progressions, the melody lines, and like the structure, the basic structure of the song, and how I was going to actually have that all laid out. And I have those songs, and now they're sitting there ready for us to produce. And what's cool is we're actually looking at being able to do these now that we're kind of closing down on the Kickstarter project and everything. It's kind of fun. But that's a side note. All that said, those are some things you can do practically. One of the things I want to attack in your brain is somebody told you were horrible at singing and that you sucked. I understand that can be hurtful. However, everybody who's a musician has people think that they suck. Everybody, every popular musician. I mean, I'm sure that you, Cherry, you have people that you look at and they're popular musicians. Man, they suck. How are they how in the heck did they get famous? And I'm sure there are some names that come to mind right now, right? But the point is, enough people liked them that they made it. I remember the first time I played some of Ryan's early music for some of the people that I was close friends with, and they're like, this guy's not good at all. And I'm like, yeah, you got to look past the sound quality and the engineering quality and all that kind of stuff. You got to look at the core. And they're like, no, man, no, this is awful. I'm like, really? Okay, whatever. You're wrong, but okay, fine. But that's par for the course. I'm a musician. I have people that think I'm really good. I have people that think I really suck. And that's okay. That's a subjective thing. And so just understand, if somebody doesn't like your style of singing or whatever, it's not for them. There are professional singers who had singing teachers that said, you should not sing because your voice is terrible and you can't hold a tune and you're awful. You should just give up and you should do something else. In fact, high-end producers told that to Elvis Presley. They said, you should go drive a truck.
You should go drive a truck.
Mm-hmm. And look at what happened. He became one of the most iconic musical figures in history.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
So, or maybe this is a spur for you to work and get better at singing. That could be too. Not a Domino's delivery car, no.
Right.
A truck.
Specifically a truck.
And not a pickup truck. A different.
Do you want to know why? Because trucks are louder. They would cover his voice when he sang.
That's right.
I think that's what they meant.
And here's another thing. Those of you who have gone to Double Cup of Joe show and you've been on and you've watched that show and you've listened to the song at the end, the song at the end of the show that we always play the whole song out. If you listen at the end of that, there's this guitar solo that's just mad awesome, right? Like just it's killer. This guy can pour so much emotion into one note.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Like it's amazing. Like he's so good. That's Steve Nichols on staff here at Black Static and Swerve. When he had his career day at school and they did all the little test thing and whatever, you know what his came out to be? A tractor painter. He should be a tractor painter. But he's this mad guitar soloist. Like really, like I'm like, that's crazy. But anyway, I digress. So with all this stuff, like, I mean, you can do whatever you want. If you love making music, I encourage you, do it. Absolutely do it. And share it. We have a saying, you know, that Ryan, I don't know if Ryan coined it or I coined it, but you know, we both kind of latched onto it, and it doesn't count if it's not public.
Yeah, it's not finished because you haven't finished it until other people are listening.
It's not finished unless it's public.
I think you actually you're the first one that said it based off of something that I said, and I really like the way that you said it, and we both latched onto the idea.
Okay, yeah. But that's the thing. Like that was the hardest hurdle for me to get over, was to share it with the rest of the world, right? To produce something and then release it. I was fine just playing in my basement. I was fine just playing with bands. I didn't even want a gig. I would never make the calls to book the gigs. I would just always show up and be really nervous, you know, when we would play them, right? But then it was fun, but I was so content just playing. But you know, then all of a sudden I meet Ryan and we start talking and we start formulating some plans, and it's like, doesn't count if it's not public. And it's like, oh boy, time to get over myself. And it might take some time for you to do that, but I encourage you, do it. And like Dagger says, do it with all of your heart. Pour everything you have into it, because that's what's going to make beautiful music. If you pour your heart and soul into whatever instrument or whatever singing you're doing, whatever your medium for creating. If you pour everything you have into it, it's going to be amazing. And there are other people in the world that are going to like it. You just got to find them. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan. So Ryan, take it away.
Thanks, Joe. I'm glad you went first. Kind of like how we were just ending with what Dagger said, pour everything into it. The thing that's interesting about that is when you pour everything into it, right? That's how you grow. And anything, right? When you work your muscles, right? When you pour your heart out, right? Then your maximum gets bigger. When you exercise, they always have you exercise, they have you lift the weight until you can't lift it anymore. And then you do 3 more reps. Which is like, what? I just said I can't do anymore. Now you're making me do 3 more. And it's just like, yeah, you can do it. And that's really, it's that get it, do it kind of attitude. Like, even though I'm exhausted, I'm just going to do 3 more. That attitude builds strength. It allows you to push further and further and further every time. That's what increases your muscles, whether it be in your ability to work on music or anything else in life. So I encourage you now, because Cherry, I know you like anime. I'm going to encourage you. This sounds ridiculous, and I'm sorry. I'm going to encourage you to check out some idol animes. And you might have already watched a few. But I know whenever I watch an idol anime, it gets me excited. Why? Because I see the characters on the show trying so hard. And that makes me go, I need to try that hard. And it makes me go, yeah, let's start. Let's go. Funny thing, I told Joe this last week. Sometimes I'll start an episode and I'll start watching it. And then halfway through, I'll just be like, nope, that's it. Pause. I'm going to go write a song. Right in the middle of the episode, I just pause it and I just go start working on music. Sometimes I play the episode and it gets to the opening theme and I'm like, yeah, that's actually a really cool riff. Pause. All right, let's work on some music because I'm inspired already just by hearing some of the music. Yes, AKB 0048 is one of the best idol animes if you just watch the first 3 episodes. That's all you need to watch. The first 3 episodes, AKB 0048. Just watch the first 3. It's the best first 3 episodes of any anime ever. Any idol anime ever. It's awesome. There's so much emotion. Every episode, the first 3 of them, or whatever it is, can make you cry. They can make you get motivated, right? And so some inspiration comes from watching other people who are inspired. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, we humans fuel each other. Mm-hmm. When I jump on board with something and anyone looks at that and goes, wow, that sounds like a challenge. That's exciting. I'm going to try that. I did that with Joe over the Lenten season. Joe was like, hey, I'm going to do this fast. And I heard what the fast was. And I was like, dang. All right. Write me down for that. Let's do it, man. The funny
thing is, I was just considering it. I wasn't committed. And then Ryan's like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, oh, dang it. No. We did it.
But we did it. But when someone's challenging themselves and you can watch them and you can watch their you can watch how hard they try, it inspires you to be like, I'm going to run with them. Mm-hmm. So here's some suggestions, Jerry. Find somebody else who's inspired and that you can feed off of. If you can, that'd be cool. Obviously you've got us at Black Static and Swerve. You've got a whole wide world of internet out there. You've got forums for people who write music. Find someone, make a connection, and go, hey, let's do this together. Because then you're fueling each other. You're building off of each other. And that keeps you moving. I know one of the things that keeps me moving is I have a group of people at Black Static and Swerve who they're not counting on me, but they fire me up. And when I can see that they're working hard, it makes me want to work hard. And when I know that if I work hard, they'll see it, it makes me want to work hard too, because I know that my hard work, they will appreciate. So it makes me want to work harder. So use your brain to your advantage. So basically, I'm saying, watch animes that fire you up. Find people that fire you up. Why? Because it's really a game of the mind. So if you can force your mind into that scenario where you just get fired up, do it. Find those scenarios that fire you up and just do that whenever you need that extra bit of extra push, right? So play your mind, play yourself, if you will. It's, you know, one of the most effective things you can do. Obviously, as Joe said, you know, inspiration often leads to action, but action leads to inspiration. So if you are waiting for inspiration to act, you've put in the cart before the horse, and your horse is running face first into a cart, and it doesn't make sense.
Horses aren't that good at pushing carts.
Yes, they're good at pulling, not so good at pushing.
They can pull.
So, I mean, we've talked a lot about this subject before, you know, and you know, even on the note where you said, you know, your friend told you you're a bad singer. You know, my best friend in high school told me that too. And I was like, okay, what do you know? You know? And you know what? You know what's funny? People recognize me for my singing on YouTube, not for my writing. And it makes me a little bit upset because I'm a composer, not a singer. But you know what? At the same time, if they think my singing like trumps my songwriting abilities, that's cool too. You know, it's everyone's perspective. It's just, you know, everyone has their own look at it. So if someone tells you you're a bad singer, thing is, you can always improve. You can always improve. It's never going to be like, oh, you're a bad singer, so therefore you're a bad singer forever. You have no choice in the matter. No, it's just like everything else in life. Someone go, oh, you're bad at building houses. You're like, duh, I've never built a house before. This is my first time. But the more you build houses, the better you get at it. The same thing with singing. You know, so if they say you're a bad singer, maybe they're right, maybe they're not. It doesn't matter. All that matters is, are you going to work to improve? Because that's all you can do anyways, is either A, you work to improve, or B, you don't work at it at all. And so I would suggest, you know what? Take their criticism and say, okay, so maybe I should just work on my singing. So find time in your day to work on your singing and be confident in that. There's no reason to push yourself down or to worry about whether other people are going to like your stuff or not. The whole, like, for me, the whole reason I wrote anything, like, it didn't make sense for me to write a song and then do nothing with it. It was kind of like, I think I got this mentality from a long time ago when I used to play StarCraft 1 and like make a bunch of maps like all day long. And then like after I would make a map, I'd be like, all right, this is fun for me. I enjoy this. Will other people enjoy this? I'm going to put it on the internet. And so the same thing, when I wrote a song, I was like, I'm enjoying this song. So if I'm enjoying this song, I want to see if other people can enjoy this song. So I just put it out on the internet. So I encourage you to do the same thing. Don't worry about what people say about it, because if you enjoy it, then you should have confidence in it. If you don't enjoy the song, then don't release it, right? If you don't enjoy the song, then you know that it's not good enough yet. Keep on working on it. But once you're like, oh, I like this song, then release it. Because then other people have the chance of enjoying it too. And it's not a matter of getting everybody to like it. There's no perfect. In fact, you could even write a song that you don't like and other people will like. But the fact is, it's all a matter of opinion. So it doesn't matter what people say. It really doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways,
And
that's all I
if
got.
you want to see someone incredibly productive, you can go and check out Hyrule's SoundCloud.
Mm-hmm.
He has produced so much stuff. It's crazy. What's your name again on SoundCloud, Hyrule? I don't remember it off the top of my head. Please post it so I
Mm-hmm.
can find you. But yeah, there's a bunch of great stuff in there, and it's just like boom, boom, boom.
And thank you, Amira. I appreciate you. You're awesome.
Yes.
But yeah, as far as motivation, as far as being inspired, sometimes you're not going to be. Sometimes you're going to have to go to other places. You're going to watch an anime and be inspired, or you're going to talk to somebody who inspires you, or you're going to listen to a song and then all of a sudden just be like, oh, I really want to write a song with that kind of style or that kind of beat. But most of the time, if you're not inspired, it can be hard to inspire yourself. So at that point, just like Joe said, you just have to work. And once you start working on it, your inspiration will come through. I would give more credit to the person who works without any inspiration and they're just like powering through the hard way, because that's incredible. And that's a lot of times why it inspires us when we see people do that. It's like, wow, that's incredible. They're trying so hard because they have this goal in mind. I think it's important, like Joe said, what is your goal? What are you doing? Because that can also drive you, even if you don't feel inspired. But anyways, yeah.
Yep. I love what you said. Ryan. And just one last thing that I wanted to throw in there is that the people in this community too that come out, at least musically, Hyrule and Jono both are on SoundCloud, and they both have inspired me through what they've created. And it's amazing because I'm like, wow, the quality level is high and they're producing a good amount of it, and it's great. And I know Jono, you've been working with Joe Bohan, putting music together for a project that he's working on, and I've gotten to hear some of that too. That is fantastic. I mean, yeah. So it's an inspiration to me when I see other people producing. So especially when I have contact with them. I mean, these are people that we see all the time in the chat. We interact, together, and they're being productive too. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait until I'm back in the music writing mode again, because like we're doing all kinds of administrative stuff right now, and it's like, and it's awesome. But I'm like, I can't wait. Like I see these guys doing this stuff, and I'm like, oh, I just want to grab my guitar like right there and play my bongos with it, which would not be good.
Yeah.
But at any rate, that's that. Thank you.
Hopefully that's helpful. I mean, obviously, you've been here many times, Sherry, where we've talked about this sort of stuff. And so you have a well to draw on, but hopefully something that we said kind of gave you an idea of the direction you can be headed. It's easy to get distracted. That was one last thing you commented on. It can be easy to get distracted. Sometimes you just have to put the distractions away. Turn off the internet while you work. Put your phone in a different room. Sometimes you just have to. And that's okay. So, yep. Thanks, Cherry. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
We love you.
Yeah.
And we're going to be moving on to the next topic.
And I can't wait to be talking about you. So make some stuff, release it, and share it so I can talk about your stuff. I want to do that. Okay?
Yeah.
Deal?
Yes, please.
Do it.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Swilk. Hey, man. How's it going? What's up, man?
Swilk's here.
Yeah. So it looks like the next person we've got here is Kendra. Kendra's still here with us. I'm gonna run through the list real quick just in case anybody is joined and they're lurking or whatever, and they hear their name, they're gonna drop a yo, what's up with your mama in the chat. If you're here, let us know. I'm gonna read through the list. It's Sumner Kagan, John Doe, Man Left Behind, Eric Bodine, Caffrey, Rain Knight, Martin, Mark Anthony, Rosie, Kendra, and Swilk. Oh, good to hear. It's good to hear, Swilk. I know that Kendra's here, so I'm gonna open that one up. And yeah, she gave us a heart and a thumbs up.
Yeah, that's a
I
what's
love
up
you,
with your
Kendra.
mama
You're
dad.
amazing.
That's the perfect.
What's up with your mama dad? Nice. Mama
All right.
that. What's up with your
Princess
mama
has
that?
posted the link. Good job, Princess. All right.
Thank you, Princess. All right, Kendra. So you wrote us a topic. It's titled Stressed and Emotional. And all right, it reads as follows. Hello, everyone. I hope you are all doing well in quarantine. This past month, I have been working on getting my frames together for my artwork. Honestly, though, it feels like a waste of time now since there's no art show in a live gallery. I now have to take pictures of my artwork and put it up online. What's worse, and that just yesterday, my professors finally just emailed me all at once on what is happening for my senior art show and for choir. I am annoyed because I have an 8-page paper to write for my artist thesis / philosophy, and it's due May 11th. However, my artist's statement, along with the pictures of my artwork, are due April 27th. I have just finished sending all of my frames, and we don't even have the plexi / acrylic glass for them. I also still have my drawing assignments and normal watercolor class assignments as well. Not to mention that I have to practice singing a part of a song Dr. Rogers assigned almost every day for about 60 minutes. He has yet to send the part that I'm supposed to be practicing. I also am going to have to record myself practicing singing this song and send it to him. Honestly, in my head, this is how I feel. Quote, ah! End quote. My anxiety has once again risen. My depression probably would be even worse if it wasn't for the mood stabilizing tablets I have been taking, and my love for painting is just slowly ebbing away. I find myself not wanting to do anything. Just stay in bed and stare at the ceiling while listening to some sort of ASMR role-playing thing. I want to start playing video games again, but every time I think about doing it, there's only one thing in my ear that's like, if you start playing again, you're just going to get frustrated and bored and end up quitting. Why play? I just don't know what to do, and trying to bring up my emotions and what I'm feeling to my family is not easy at all. I feel like the only person in my family that actually understands how I feel or can sense that something is wrong is my mom. If I try to bring up anything about depression or stuff like that to my dad, his answer is, I'm sorry you feel that way, or you aren't depressed. It's just the devil saying all those things to make you feel that way. It hurts hearing him say that because I end up feeling stupid for even saying anything to him. Before he says anything else, I quickly end up walking away and going and locking myself in my room so that I don't have to hear him anymore, and I cry. I have shown my emotions to my siblings before, and they either make fun of me or ignore me. When I was still in middle school / high school, I was very self-conscious about my weight, and I still am. My brother would often call me fat and ugly, and that really brought my self-esteem down because it wasn't someone from my school, it was someone in my family, someone I care about. The one who makes those comments about me being emotional or my weight is mostly my sports-loving brother. My mom has gotten after him before because he knows how much his words hurt me, but also because that is not how God wants us to treat each other. I have tried to ignore what he says, but it sticks with me. It's a part of the reason I don't see myself in a good light even when people tell me how kind I am or how cute I am or something else about me that they like. I have looked in the mirror in the morning or at night, and I have said to myself, I am beautiful, I am loved, I am worthy of love. The confidence I get from that only lasts so long, though. Some friends of mine have told me to get professional help, but I can't afford it right now. They have also told me that if I ever need to talk to them, they are there for me. But I know that they have their own problems, and I don't want to burden them with my own. And I'm probably contradicting myself right now, considering I like to help other people. I'm sorry this is so long. I think I just really needed to vent and I am in a very emotional state. Thank you for reading/listening. God bless you, Kendra.
Mm.
Thank you, Kendra.
Thank you, Kendra.
Thank you for the blessings. We appreciate you, and we appreciate you posting, even if it's just kind of, it feels like a rant. Everything here is of good nature, is something we definitely would want to talk about. So we appreciate you posting this. And it's not, I think it's more than a rant, you know. Obviously we all have to vent, we all have to kind of just let it out. And I'm glad that you can get that opportunity to do so here. And not feel judged or, you know, worried that anyone's going to mock you or anything like that. We're just going to love on you. And I think that's really wonderful. And it's not because of us, it's also because of the chat, and everyone in the chat is so cool, so kind, and caring. You guys are awesome. So yeah, you've got a lot going on. You've got a lot of reason to be stressed. You have a lot of assignments coming up. Everything's changed because of the quarantine. You've got your painting stuff that seems to not really be helping you with your emotional state. Could even just be making you more stressed out. Yeah, I mean, I get it. And you start to feel as though, like, man, I just don't want to do anything. I just want to lay here and have like nothing to do, and that would be great. If you're in that boat,
bless you.
I totally understand that. Even to the like extent of like, maybe I could just go play a video game or something, relax, and then it's just like, yeah, but I'll probably just get bored of that right away and quit. It's like, yeah, could happen. So I think there's a lot to talk about here. So to keep things moving, because I know we don't have a whole lot of time, I'm gonna give it over to Joe so that he can get to it.
Well, thanks, Ryan, and thank you, Kendra, for posting this. Wow, it's great that you feel comfortable sharing, and I hope that never changes, because we want to be always welcoming, you know, and we want to be a place where people feel safe. We want to be an organization where, you know, people can come and they can be themselves, and they don't have to worry about being judged, and they don't, and, you know, I can't express to you enough how much I appreciate you being willing to share, you know, these challenges, and being willing to share what's going on, because it's hard. It takes courage to do that. It takes a lot of courage to be able to share that stuff, and like, and it's always so disheartening when someone actually musters the courage to share, and then somebody says, either belittles it, or, you know, insults it or whatever, because no, that's somebody's heart, you know. And so I just really, really appreciate you opening your heart here, Kendra. You are awesome, and you have an amazing heart. So I understand. I mean, the one thing I want to zero in on this, because like Ryan said, there's a lot a lot that we can go over in this. But I wanted to kind of zoom in on the beginning of your post, where you have all this stuff going on and you're feeling the overwhelm, and you know, you've got your philosophy thesis that's due on May 11th. You've got your statement and pictures that are due 3 days from now on the 27th, right? And you know, wherever you're at with that, I don't know. You know, I mean, you posted this 2 days ago, so I don't know how much you have gotten done in 2 days, but I'm sure you've gotten some done in 2 days. But here's the thing. Plus, I mean, all the practicing of singing and everything like that. I'll tell you, one of the things that always helps me, especially when I'm feeling the overwhelm of a whole bunch of stuff going on, is I'm reminded, and you can remind yourself here, this is going to be over, and it's going to be over soon. You can do the best you can. You can put it together the best you can. You can work hard at it. You can do, you know, and I would encourage you to do so, for sure. You don't, but to feel overwhelmed is absolutely natural in this type of situation. So then the question is, how do you deal with that? And the thing that's helped me a lot is just to understand this is the time it's going to be done. This is due April 27th. Maybe you can extend that due date if you talk to your professor, maybe not. Oh, there's an update. Kendra says, I have the statement done, but the pictures aren't done yet. I also have the drawing and painting done for the classes. Still getting the thumbnails done. Okay, so you are on track. You're doing good. So okay, you got to get the pictures done. You got a few days. All right. So I think you're going to be okay. And then it's going to be over. You know, and after the 27th, once you get all that stuff done, then you've got your thesis that's due on May 11th. So at that point, you'll have like what? You'll have 14 days after that to do the 8-page paper. I think you could probably do that. But I know when it all hits at once like that, and especially when all your professors email you at the same time, the overwhelm is just ridiculous, right? And then it's like, how do I sort this out? So you can take a deep breath and be like, you know what? This is all going to be over very soon. And the outcome of this, it's not up to me. I mean, I'll do the best I can. But if I crash and burn, I crash and burn. These events do not define your life. These are just a step on your journey. You're on an adventure. And, you know, I talked this morning on Double Cup of Joe about, you know, the story of the shepherd who sold all of his sheep because he wanted to find treasure in Egypt, and then he went to Tangier, and he was so he was not even close, and he found this guy who said he was going to be his guide, and then the guy took all of his money that he took for the sheep and then left him there. And he's like, man, like I could be really, really sad and depressed about this right now. Or I could say to myself, I'm an adventurer, and this is just a stage of my adventure. And right now, that's kind of what you're on right now. This is just one stage of the adventure called Kendra's life. And no matter what happens, you're going to have some kind of a story. Because anytime big, massive events like this happen where they stress us out, they're great. They end up being awesome stories later on, and stuff that you can reflect on, and you can be like, oh man, remember that? Remember how hard that was? Yeah, I've faced things that were harder than that since then. And you know what? But I always kind of look back to that, and that was one of those moments that was like, oh yeah, that was where I really got going, and I could really, you know, I really lit a fire under myself and got moving. You know, so they can be things that you look back on with a healthy kind of pride, where it's like, you know, I'm proud of myself. I did a good job. I tried really hard. You know, maybe I didn't get the top grade, whoever, but I finished it. I did it. I got it all taken care of. And those are some wonderful, wonderful moments. So you have the making of some wonderful moments right now with all this stuff going on. And yeah, I can't wait to hear how it all comes out. But I know it's definitely not easy, and it's definitely hard when the people close to you they either don't understand, or they don't want to listen, or whatever. They kind of just dismiss how you're feeling. I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry that you have to go through that, and I hope that at least here you'll find some people that care and that want to help in whatever way we possibly can, even if it's just to listen and, you know, and read your posts, and, you know, and share from our hearts about what's going on in yours. and hopefully some of that can help. I had something else I was going to say, but I forgot, so I'm going to turn it over to Ryan. Ryan?
All right. Sure.
Have at it.
Thanks, Joe. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, whenever I have to go through something like this, let me tell you, Kendra, I think going through this, the most important thing I learned about how to handle it in the future was this. I can only do one thing at a time. So let's start there. Let's just pick something and start doing it. 2, I can only put forth my effort. I don't get to pick the results. So there's no reason to get worried about that. Because if I'm not in control completely, then I'm not going to worry about what I'm not in control of. Right? There are parts of my life I am not in control of. It's not up to me. I don't get to pick the taxes that I get when I buy food. The government picks that. I don't get to pick the prices that the food costs. Like, there's just a lot of things in life I don't get to control. So I don't worry about those things. They're not my responsibility. So all I can do is try. And whether things are like, oh, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, I say, oh, can't change it, can't care. Can't change this, then I can't care. Because I'm only responsible for what I can change. So I think that's important. So when I'm encounter something where it's like, I got to do all this stuff, one, I can only do one thing at a time. Let's pick one and do it. And just start, right? 2, what I can't change, I can't change. And so I can't care. 3, whatever I work on, my attitude does not reflect that. Okay? So I get to pick my attitude. I also get to pick on what I work on. And the 2 are separate. They are not linked. They are not the same thing. I could be doing something I don't like, but choose to have a great attitude. And that will make what I'm working on way better. Or I could do what I'm working on. I could even do something that I like doing, but have a bad attitude. And it makes what I'm doing terrible. Right? I mean, you've experienced this, Kendra. I know you have, because all of us have. When you do something you like, but you have a bad attitude, it makes that thing that you like doing not the greatest. Mm-hmm. And you're like, I'm doing this because I wanted to change my attitude. Sometimes it doesn't work like that. Sometimes it does, but sometimes it doesn't. So we have to remember to keep our attitude separate from what we're doing. We can't let the outside world decide our attitude inside. Because as soon as we let it, we're no longer in control of ourselves. And then we're not satisfied with ourselves anymore. And then we become depressed because we can't be proud of ourselves. And we become just like a pile of slime on the floor, where we're just like, nothing's going to work until everything around me changes. That's how we get. So we can't allow the outside world to determine how we're going to feel or what we're going to do with our lives. We have to decide for ourselves. So when I'm confronted with something like, I really don't want to do that. You know what I do? I say, wait a minute, I don't want to do that. Therefore, that's a challenge. Therefore, I should do it. And I'm going to do it with a good attitude. And then I go do it with a good attitude. I'm like, let's do this thing. I don't even like doing it. Let's do it. This is going to be awesome. Why? Because it's forcing me into a position where I get to confront what I don't like and own it. And be like, yo, I don't like you, but check this out. I have an awesome attitude, so it doesn't matter. You know what that does? It makes me feel good about myself. It makes me grow in the area of doing things I don't like. And it helps me to like those things that I used to not like. By approaching things like that, like, I am not a person that likes physical, like, anything, but like physical labor, I'm not a fan of it. But you know what? When I come at physical labor with a good attitude, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go. Come on, let's go. Like, let's just move this stuff around. Like, that's what physical labor mostly is. It's just moving things around. You lift things up, you put them down. You lift things up, you push them around, and then you set them down. That's like what most physical labor is.
Pick it up, put it down. Move
But
it
yeah,
over
pick it
there.
up, put it down, pick it up, put it down. But if I come at it with a good attitude, suddenly I feel good about the work I'm doing. It feels rewarding. It feels like I'm doing something. And then I'm like, you know what? I don't mind doing that stuff anymore. I used, as a kid, or even like as a young adult, I hated that stuff. Now, give it to me. I don't care. Like, yeah, it's not my favorite thing in the world, but I'll do it. If you need me to do it, just ask. I'll do it. Like, and it's not going to determine how I feel at all. It's just like, okay, yeah, that's my assignment. Let's go. Who am I inside? I'm Ryan. I'm having a good time. Like always.
Mm-hmm. And I look good doing it too. That's how it is for Ryan.
Especially when I get really beat up and bloody. That's when I look the best. I'm bloodied, battered, and bruised, and it's like, wow, he's so attractive. He's got all those scars on his face from his physical labors. Yeah, you know it. No, anyways, that's kind of like how I look at it. So if you feel overwhelmed with all these tasks, the best thing you can do is just look at what you got and pick one and do it. And then remember, your attitude is separate from the things that you do. It's its own entity, and you get to pick it. So what are you going to pick for it? I would suggest a go-to-ative, like, let's get it done, and let's smile, and let's try to like this thing, and let's find the good in it. Let's find the parts of it that I do enjoy, and try to have that attitude going through it, because that will make the work feel faster. It'll make it feel more rewarding. It will make it feel, well, just better in every way. And the end product will be better, no matter what it is. As far as being burnt out, there's a lot of reasons that you could feel that way. So, one of the best things you can do is sometimes you just got to try something you haven't done before, or try something you don't like. This might be the exact thing you need to do, is all these crazy assignments that feel like they aren't related at all. You go through them, you try to find a good attitude, you go through them, and then when you're done with them, you're like, you know what? I feel good. Let's go do some art. And then you're like, yeah, this is great. Shoveling snow sucks. Kendra, I can relate to that. You know what? Shoveling snow is not so bad. If you, I just read an article recently about Aomori. Aomori is a place in Japan, and they have the most snowfall per year than any other city in the entire world. And they shovel more snow than anybody in the entire world. They shovel multiple times a day. It's a never-ending issue for them in the winter. That's in Aomori, Japan. You know what? Attitude is everything. Because some people, they look at it and they're like, you know what? This is great exercise. They've worked out routines. They've worked out ways to get in fit doing shoveling. And they're like, you know what? If it weren't for this shoveling, I wouldn't be this fit. So I'm glad that we have to shovel twice a day or 3 times a day. Then there are other people in Aomori, Japan, who are just like, yeah, I hate shoveling. There's nothing good about it. It's just annoying. And every time they go out to shovel, they don't have a good attitude. They don't feel good. And they feel like they wasted their time. Again, it's all about the attitude. So if you go out and you have to go shoveling, just be like, you know what? This is good exercise. This is good time to think, because a lot of times that's when we think the hardest, when we're sitting there doing routine labor that is the same thing over and over, like shoveling snow. All you have to do is look at the ground, find where the snow is, and shovel it. And it's physical work. But that's where we do sometimes, like actually a lot of times, that's when we do our best thinking. That's when our mind starts to re-stimulate some of the chemicals in our brain to start helping us have more energy, have more positive attitude, have better thoughts, have new thoughts about new creations that we've never thought of before, that hasn't been in the world before. Like, hey, what if I invented this? This would be really cool. And even if you don't ever use that, maybe you could paint a picture of it, you know, cool things like that. So that's about all I've got. I hope that's helpful. Oh, I guess the last thing is, when people, it can, like you said, you have your family, it can be hard to approach them about your problems because your brother and so on. I mean, I touched a little bit about that. Ultimately, they're not the judge of you. If they're judging you, right? I mean, let me tell you, there's a part in the Bible that says you will be judged to the extent that you judged others. And that makes me happy. It makes me feel bad about people who are really judgmental, but it makes me personally happy because I'm like, oh, good. I'm not that bad in that category. So if he tries to judge me on the way I judge others, hopefully I can get through, It doesn't matter what anybody judges other people as, because it doesn't change anything. Mm-hmm. It is what it is, right? And you can change your attitude about it any moment. You can decide, oh, I'm happy that I have this physical situation going on. I'm glad. Why? It keeps me warm in the winter. So yeah, you can say I have a lot of fat content on my body, but at least I'm not freezing my butt off as much, because I know it'd be really cold without all of this. Because I can tell you I am all the time. I'm like freezing 24/7. All right. So I literally can't create, like, I have like 0% body fat, and no matter what I do, it doesn't turn into fat on my body. Like, it just doesn't. And so I'm always cold. All right. So always be happy about that, Kendra, but yeah. Seriously, if, like, God is the ultimate judge, and he's not judging you like, oh, you go to hell because you're fat. Like, that is absolutely not God, right? So if they say something like that, just be like, yeah, you can shut up, because you're just talking nonsense.
You can shut up.
You can shut up because
you don't like it.
Yeah.
Don't say it, then go away.
Yeah, go away. Like, I don't care. I really don't care what you have to say, because it doesn't change anything. And it's pointless to say that. Like, there's no point. That's like saying the power's on. That's like coming to me every 30 minutes and going, hey, the power's on right now. Hey, the power in our house is working. It's like, yeah, you're not changing anything by saying that. And that's just actually just really annoying. Could you stop telling me the power's on? Because that's okay. Yes, the power is on. Thank you.
The power is on.
Yeah. So it's like, it's pretty much the same thing as that. So don't worry about what people say to you, because it doesn't change you. Oh. It doesn't affect who you are. The only part that affects who you are is how you let it affect you. And if you take it and say, okay, I'll take this and I'll make the best of it. I'll take that criticism and I'll make it work. And I'll fight to become better in those areas. That's the only thing you can do with it, other than make yourself feel depressed and hate yourself, which is the opposite. And you really don't want that. So a lot of this is up to you, but you have to start doing it before you feel like you have the courage to continue doing it. You have to start working on yourself and saying, you know what, I'm going to try to make the best of the scenarios when people insult me. And if you can do that, which is the hardest part, then you will start to feel encouraged by yourself. Then it'll start to be a lot easier as you go forward. Right now, this is the hardest spot to be, is that the low point where it's like you've got no momentum. You're trying to push a boulder up the hill, right? And it's at the bottom and it didn't roll down the hill. It's just sitting there, right? So this is the hardest part. But once you start pushing it, it's going to get a little momentum, right? And eventually you're going to get to the top of that hill. And you're going to be like, you know what? I'm amazing, and I've been amazing all along. Other people were just wrong about me because they don't know me. If they're saying that kind of stuff about you, they don't know you. They don't know who you really are inside. So, yeah, once you get to that top of that hill, it becomes easy. You just push it, and it's got the momentum already. You don't even have to push it. It's just going to roll. So, right now, what you have to do is you have to look at yourself and spend time encouraging yourself. Spend time doing what you're proud of. Because when you do the things that you're proud of, you start to feel good about yourself. That starts the momentum, right? And you can get to a point where you're like, I don't care what other people have to say about me, because I realize who I am, and I can understand what God thinks of me, and the rest doesn't matter. Anyways, yeah. Joe, do you have anything else you want to say about that?
Yeah, one thing I wanted to comment on is Ryan really does like the heat. The only thing better than like 150 degrees and humid for Ryan is a sauna in that environment.
Yeah.
Or a hot tub in that environment. And also,
no, I remember he's actually not lying. It's true.
That's like literally how it is. What I was going to allude to here, you should look up a guy by the name of John Dacre. Those of you who know who I'm talking about, you're probably going to start laughing immediately. Daker. John Dacre. And go to the original one. This guy, if you want to talk about a person who wasn't exactly prepared for his performance, he has been immortalized on YouTube.
Oh.
Because of his performance. He was probably not as prepared as he could have been for. So, in your moments when you feel overwhelmed and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know. Oh my gosh. Look up John Dacre. I looked it up the other day because I was feeling overwhelmed, and I was like, oh, I remember this guy. Oh, yes. It's so great. And actually, you know what? I'll just post a link.
Oh.
That's even better.
Okay.
There's the link. That's the original John Dacre, and he doesn't actually start until like, probably 40 something seconds in or whatever. But the whole thing is entertaining.
Yeah.
And but I'm telling you, it's amazing. And yes. I'll leave it there. So that's all I got. Kendra, I hope some of that was helpful for you. And I hope that, you look at this guy and I feel bad for him because he was so not prepared.
Yeah, because he just kind of got put in that spot. He was distracted by something and it came to him and he was like, Yep. We've all been there.
Yep, exactly. And so you know what? It doesn't matter. You're gonna do the best you can. And whatever happens as a result, it's gonna happen. And it's just another step. That moment was a few short minutes in John Dacre's life, and then he has the rest of his life after that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's okay. But anyway, I digress. Ryan, that's all I got.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Kendra. We hope that our discussion made you feel a little bit better, feel a little bit more confident. You're amazing. I want you to know that you seriously are. You have nothing to worry about. If anyone says anything about you, just come back and be like, oh wait, but everyone over here thinks I'm amazing. Yeah, it's because you are.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone thinks you're not, then they just don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
they just don't see it.
They don't understand how the world works.
Yeah, if they don't see you, if they don't see amazingness when they look at you, they don't see you. Mm-hmm. They don't see amazingness.
Right.
Because I could look like, basically they're blind. If you look at Kendra and you don't see the amazingness, it's because you're not looking for what's good. It's because you're just basically blind. So don't worry about what others think of you. Just focus on what you can do to improve yourself in whatever areas in life. And hopefully that will make you feel a little bit better about yourself. If you can't see the amazingness in yourself, that's pretty normal. I think a lot of people experience that. Mm-hmm. But sometimes our blind spots are ourselves. Ourselves are our biggest blind spots. We can't see where our failures are. We also can't see where our successes are. So sometimes we have to come to other people to be like, hey, could you explain me to me? Because that'd be really nice. I'm lost. Sometimes that happens. So if you feel like that, go to your friends. You know, one of the things you said was you don't want to bother your friends. This will be the last thing I have to say before I move on. One of the things you said, you don't want to be a burden to yourself, or you don't want to be a burden to your friends. Like literally, that's what your friends are there for. You guys are burden to each other, but you're also what brings excitement. That's what part of like being a friend means. You're on their side, right? Through thick and thin. And it's through the thick that we become really close friends, right? It's through our toils that we triumph, that we become closer. We feel like we shared an adventure. We had a story together, and that our bonds tighten through that. So when you're going through something, you should share it with your friends. You're supposed to be a burden sometimes. Why? Because that makes your friendship all the better. It sounds like it's backwards, but it's true. When you go through hardship with a friend, there's that bond that tightens, and it makes you feel like, you know what, this person's really on my side. And now we know how to help each other more. We can see the light in each other better, and we can see the dark in each other better to help each other out and be like, hey, this is a blind spot for you. I got your back though. I'm here. And we all need that because we're all human, and that's how we're designed, to work off of each other. So don't be worried about being a burden. You know, just like you said, you want to help people too. So do they. Like, that's something they want to do. So allow them that chance, allow them that experience. So when you feel like you can't find the amazingness in yourself and you don't know where that is and you don't know what that is, go to your friends and ask them. I'm sure they would like to share. Anyways, that's all I got. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for being here, Kendra. We love you. And we hope to see more from you and all your awesome comments in the chat in the future. But with that, let's, I think, yeah, we got time for Swoke, right?
Yeah, you bet.
Awesome. Hey, Elizabeth, how's it going? Akil's here too now. Sweet. I mean, Akil's been here for a little while, but still.
Thank you, Kendra.
Yeah, thank you, Kendra.
We don't have anything in here from Akil anymore.
No, we don't. We actually don't. Thanks, Akil.
Akil, you gotta
feel free to post another one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Gotta make another post.
So I will go through the list. I don't.
Princess already posted the link.
No, we don't need to. We're just gonna go for it. We got.
It's official now.
Yep. Thanks, Princess.
Yep.
So
Princess keeps us on track. She's awesome.
It's good. It's good. So yeah. I appreciate all of you guys for being in the chat. You guys are awesome. I love reading through what you have to say. So this is from Matt. It's titled Artificial Anxiety. And then parentheses, also alliteration, apparently. Nice.
Where's Joe Bohan? He would love that.
Artificial anxiety, also alliteration, apparently. Man, this is like DD stuff. Yeah. I'm detective, deducing devious deeds. Don't dare you dabble in darkness or I'll devise your defeat.
Yeah. Hey, there he is. Hey, Joe.
That's the extended version. I think a lot of people don't know that one. So originally that was the tune. I am detective, deducing devious deeds. Don't dare you dabble in darkness or I'll devise your defeat. That was going to be the original. I never used that. So I think I might use that for, I might use that melody in season 2. Hopefully I get a chance to.
Spoiler alert, season 2 is coming.
Spoiler alert. Yes. Is Bohan here? No.
Yeah, he just said yay.
Oh, yeah. There he is. I was like, I thought I saw him in the chat, and then I read the first couple, and I didn't see him. Like, oh, maybe he's not.
Totally
yeah.
nice.
Okay. Yay, wordplay. Sweet. All right. So here we go. Artificial anxiety from Swoke reads as follows. Hey, yeah. This one might go into a bit more serious territory, personally. But what I want to talk about is the anxiety I have created myself, more specifically by overpressuring myself. You see, I've wanted to become a YouTuber for a while now. It just seems like an amazing outlet for someone like me who enjoys telling stories through all mediums of art. I can upload music, I can animate stories, I can talk about my passions and share my thoughts, and it's possible to make a living off of it. How cool would that be? But it's far from a guaranteed career path. And that's really where a lot of my artificial anxiety stems from. In order to be at least like 70% sure that I'll get somewhere with it, and to feel like I deserve having my dream job when I do get somewhere with it, I have to work. I have to work hard in order to get my skills to a comfortable level before I start making videos. Gonna go off on a little tangent now, but I promise it's relevant. I started working on visual art in early 2016, 4 years ago. Looking back, my work ethic was horrible at this time. I only drew stuff I knew how to and didn't really bother improving on my own. It'll just come naturally, I said to myself. I became an exclusively pixel artist for 2017 to 2019 because I was too afraid to do anything else. It was only the August of last year that I realized how bent that worldview was. And right then and there, I came up with an analogy. It was like I was in a race and suddenly noticed a narrow path off the main track and decided to take it for a shortcut. I went deeper and deeper into wherever this path was taking me, and then I suddenly realized that I had been too self important to notice that other people have also been improving themselves. And me taking the shortcut actually led me down many bad decisions that now meant I had fallen behind the pack. Now I feel like I need to be perpetually sprinting out of this path to get back on track. I was so smug these past 4 years, too. Like in 2016, I was incredibly proud of how independent I was. And it's not that you shouldn't celebrate your strengths and victories, but being arrogant and proud of everything I was doing and scared of doing anything else ultimately hurt my progression in the long run. 4 years. 4 years of drawing, and my skills were a fifth of what I wanted to achieve with that time. Within that time. Yeah, no, with that time. Now I'm 2 or 3 years from the age I want to start making videos at. Having made the realization that I was falling behind, coupled with me going to a demanding new school and meeting more artists who seemed better than me, well, needless to say, my self-esteem took the biggest hit it had ever taken. I plunged into my worst depressions in the fall of 2019, and the anxiety began around then. So, the anxiety, it kicks in pretty sporadically, mostly at moments when I'm not being productive. It's the sudden recall that I'm falling behind, that I need to sprint, and that I need to sprint now. It's it's overwhelming. Suddenly, music becomes too distracting, silence becomes too loud, and my heavy heartbeats drown out any rationality in my head. Long story short, any hope of even being productive is shot down because I'm completely incapacitated. It's strange for me because I've never really had any anxiety prior to this all, which is why I call it artificial. It's 100% something I created for myself. It's like that song, Back Where I Belong by Static P. I don't know who that is. He's kind of an indie producer. You might know, no, you might know him real. Yeah, I don't think so. But there's the line uh, in quotes, because I'm the one who's holding me back from who I had dreamed I'd become, end quote. Sarcasm aside, I guess I'm looking for advice. On one hand, I hate that I feel overpressured so often, even if I'm not working a lot. And on the other hand, honestly, I'm falling behind is among the best motivators I've had for creating art. And maybe I should try to figure out how to work together with these emotions instead of working against me. Or instead of working against them. Signed, Matt/Swilk. Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Swilk. Thanks for the good read. And yeah, I mean, this is totally relatable. I appreciate this. There's a lot to talk about in here. Hopefully we can do it justice. You know, becoming a YouTuber and making art through that is one thing. Now you've also got the whole fact of anxiety causing you to slack or be worried, or it just putting you off when you try to work, feeling pressure, feeling inadequate, or when other people, you look at other people's art and it's like doesn't compare, and you're like, dang, they're so much better than me. I have so much to catching up to do. All of this stuff, all this stuff is good to talk about. So, um, if Joe's ready, I'll let him hop right into it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to pick which angle to go.
Yeah, I get it.
There's a lot
There's
of
a lot of
different
time.
angles. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's cool. One thing about anxiety, though, in general, I've got some experience with that in myself, and I've experienced watching other family members deal with anxiety, and stuff like that. Like, really, and it's funny. When I went through the book, The 5 Second Rule by Mel Robbins, I learned that anxiety is the same physiological the same thing is happening in your body as when you're excited, because you're anxious. You What's happening is you're tensing up and you're getting kind of like you're getting a little bit of a surge of adrenaline. Your mind starts to race, and some of this kind of it gets kind of crazy. And what that's doing, like, your body is preparing you for something in those moments, right? And so when you label it anxiety, it takes on like a bad connotation. And so you sit there and think, okay, this is anxiety in my body. I don't understand why this is happening. I feel overwhelmed and I'm anxious. It's like, if you can remember to switch that in those moments when you start to feel it rise in you, and say, oh, I'm excited. What am I excited for? Oh, am I am I excited because I have this thing I need to do, this stuff I need to do, and this is just my body preparing me to do a really good job at it, and then, like, you can kind of shift that, and then what happens is the anxiety starts to level off. The heightened awareness and the heightened bodily response starts to level off, and you are now in control, because you haven't labeled it something negative and something that we've been taught is out of our control. That's one thing you can stick in the back of your mind and try when you start to feel anxiety start to rise in you, is just remind yourself, this is the same as excitement, the same bodily response as excitement. It's the same with fear and excitement, all these things. I mean, it's really just that tensing up of your body, that racing of the mind, and that surge of adrenaline. That's your body saying, hey, get ready, something's about to happen. And if you don't have the thing that's about to happen to assign to the bodily response, like when you're on a roller coaster, it's obvious. You're going up that hill and you start to feel it. It's the same feeling. Your butt starts to tingle a little bit, and you get that, your heart beats faster, you get a little nervous, you get scared, you're looking around. But there, it's easily assignable. Like, the reason I'm feeling this way is because I'm about to go over this 300-foot hill, like almost straight down, and it's going to be going super fast, and it's going to be really, really scary. So when you experience that bodily reaction and you don't have a thing that's exciting to assign it to, then it starts to be a little bit of a danger, and you can start to think, oh, I'm just dealing with anxiety. But it's really just, a heightened bodily response. Okay. Now, what brings that on could be numerous things. I mean, like, the overwhelm, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that can totally get you. The feeling of, where is that here? Da, 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 where you're falling behind. You feel like you're falling behind. That can definitely trigger it, because then it's like, oh, I got this to do, I got this to do, I got this to do, and then you start to, like, you start to lose focus because you got so many things kind of coming at you. And one of the things that I found, there's a very, very key phrase in your post here. It says, so the anxiety, it kicks in pretty sporadically, mostly at moments when I'm not being productive. So a remedy could be, when you start to feel that come on, take action on something. Do something of one of those things that you have on your plate. Just start working on it. I feel that way sometimes before inspections days. Like when I'm going to go out and do a bunch of inspections, I shouldn't feel anxious about it, but I do, because all kinds of crazy stuff can happen in an inspections day. But when I actually just go, then it all melts away. And I'm just out there doing it. I have that anxiety sometimes when I pull up to a house where I maybe have had a confrontation before with a person, or maybe, you know, like I see somebody outside and I really don't want to make contact with anybody, you know, and so I'm just trying to go unnoticed with my inspection. And, you know, but I tell myself this all the time. It's like I get there and I see somebody outside, and all of a sudden my heart starts to beat faster and my chest tenses up, and you know, I get this kind of, and my butt tingles, because that's always the thing that happens to me. Sorry if that's inappropriate, but I'm
inappropriate, but it is strange.
I'm the
I get
star.
that.
So I can say what I want.
That's right.
But I notice
No,
myself feeling that way, and then I'm like, what the heck? Why am I feeling this way? Like if I make contact with somebody, I know exactly what to say. I know exactly what to do. I know exactly how to handle any of this. Like, why am I nervous about this? And then when I can logically explain it to myself, that can help sometimes. So that's another thing you can try, is get to the logic of the situation, right? And when, you know, okay, so you're falling behind. So what? You can get caught up. It's okay. I've been behind on so many things in my life, I can't even count them. I'm behind on stuff right now. And you know what? Sometimes I get stressed about it. And then I remember, you know what? I'm one person. I can only do so much. Stuff comes at me. You know, life comes at you. Life just starts throwing stuff at you. I remember I remember using in Double Cup of Joe show, we were talking about this, and I used Taekwondo as an analogy. It's like being in a sparring match, right? Like sometimes you don't have time to count to 10 because somebody's about to punch you. Like
that's true.
and so you gotta like immediately respond, and life will do that to you sometimes. And sometimes you get caught up in all this stuff responding to things that are coming at you. All the other stuff, all your responsibilities kind of get set aside because they have to. You know, you've got to focus on this stuff that's absolutely urgent right now. And sometimes that happens. It's okay. We all deal with that. And yeah, okay, you hate that you feel overpressured so often, even if you're not working a lot. Sometimes that's the cause of the pressure. That, at least for me, I know once I start, that's usually the hurdle. It's just I have to figure out how to get myself to start, and then from there, I just take one more step and one more step and one more step. Sometimes you just set the bar so low, and you're like, okay, what's the smallest task that I can start with? Maybe it's just picking up a pencil. Maybe it's turning on my computer. Maybe it's picking up my phone. Maybe whatever task it is to just start you moving in that direction. As soon as you start taking those steps, that overwhelm and that overpressure starts to go away because you know you're on the right path. You know you're on the path to accomplishment. But you also said, on the other hand, the I'm falling behind is one of the best motivators that you've had for creating art. And you've created some tremendous art. And I think honestly, that's why they came up with this thing called deadlines. to put pressure on somebody who's creative. Right? Because that otherwise a creative person will just sit there and, you know, they'll just take their time and, you know, get it just perfect and get it just so, and then it'll never get out to the public, right? But when you create deadlines, it's like, oh, now we got to put some pressure on the creative person. And it's like, all right, yep, you're right. We got a deadline. We got to do this. Yep. So you're right. Working together with these emotions is key. You answered your own question. Because when you understand what the emotions are, you can really start to frame them differently. The problem is not the emotion itself. The problem is the label that we've put on the emotion. Like Ryan talks about with pain, the problem isn't necessarily the pain. The problem is that we've labeled pain a bad thing when it actually is a good thing. So take great care. Think about how you've labeled things. If you've labeled something bad, ask yourself, why is this bad? Is there something good about it? You did that in your last couple sentences here, where you took something and you're like, this seems bad, but it's a good thing because it actually motivated me to create art, so it's actually good. So you're already starting to dismantle this a little bit on your own, and I like that, because you know we can that's gonna play in your favor a lot. And when you start to figure out, wait a second, everything that I think is bad has something good attached to it, then you start to see the good in all of those things. And then you can start fixing the labels that you've placed on things. And maybe you didn't place them, maybe somebody else placed it, and then that's what you've been taught forever. And so that's just the way that it is right now. But you can always change the label. You can always change the label on anything. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan. Hopefully I'm trying to set the ball on the tee for Ryan so he can just come over and just whack it with a hockey stick, because that's what you do with a ball on a tee.
Nice. Yeah. Thank you for setting me up. So I was typing an idea down real quick because all what you were saying, I was like, ooh, wait, I got an idea. Hold on. So I had to type it down. We can talk about it later.
All right, good.
I was excited about 3DC again. Yeah, I came up with an awesome idea. Anyways, you guys on the chat will maybe someday soon we'll release 3DC, and
you're gonna be excited about it too. 3DC means, and you're gonna be like 3DC.
Yeah, 3DC. So you guys are gonna want 3DC. I just came up with a brilliant idea for it. And hopefully we'll get everybody on track in this order, because we're talking about getting things done, right?
Mm-hmm. You guys are like, what are you guys even talking about? What is this 3DC?
Yeah, we'll talk about 3DC when we come out with it. All right, we'll talk about it when we come out with it. Santa knows a little bit about 3DC, but it's still in development. Anyways, I think
Princess you should go to 3dc.studio actually right now.
Yeah, you can go to 3dc.studio. Put it in your web browser, and save that as bookmarks, because we bought it. What does it even take you to when you go there right now?
Takes you to vss.studio.
Does it? Okay. Yeah. Oh, it's at haruka.com. Yeah, unfortunately,
it takes you to the club. It takes you to the club.
Oh, does it? Take you to the club?
Yeah.
Nice. Thanks, Jesse.
Oh.
You rock. So, okay, there's so much to talk about here. Swoke, I feel ya. I want to suggest something. So, Joe was talking about, when you get that feeling of like that feeling of anxiety, one of the best, one of the quick solutions is as soon as you get that, react. and just start taking action, right? Right now, I'm going to recommend you the opposite, but not for long term. Okay? I'm going to recommend you not like the complete opposite, but I'm going to recommend you something that will set you up for the right thinking. Okay? Because a lot of this is what I'm looking at right here, right? Joe was just talking about sacrifice, right? A lot of times when something makes us feel bad, we just immediately when something makes us feel a way we don't like, we immediately go, "Oh, that's bad." Right? So whenever we experience pain of any sort, we just immediately go, "Oh, pain is bad. We don't like the way it feels. I don't like that, therefore it's bad." And we got to get away from that perspective, right? Because there are things in this world that don't necessarily feel good, but they are very good. And Silk, you've been here when we talked about love. You have to be willing to do things you don't like doing, things that might feel like you're wasting time, feel like you don't want to do it, feel bad. But at the same time, it is a very good thing. When we exercise, we do things that it kind of doesn't feel very good. And so like, oh, so exercise is bad. Well, no, the truth is exercise is good. We know this, right? When you look at another person's art and it makes you feel bad, it makes you feel like you wasted your time for 4 years when you could have been improving all these other places, but you hadn't been. You look at their art and you're like, wow, they're so good. They improved so much over the last 4 years, and I didn't because I was working on this one thing I wasn't testing myself. I wasn't trying myself. I wasn't exercising. And so we feel bad. We don't like that feeling. 2 things. 1, good. Because now you know where you can be headed. 2, it's a part of your story. There's no reason to regret it. Everyone has their stories. Our stories are pretty long. They're short in some schemes, but they're also long to us. They take a while to get through. And we all have wasted more than 4 years of our lives doing something. But you know what? We also find out later in life that we didn't waste that time. We just spent it doing something, taking a path and exploring and going down a road that maybe it wasn't exactly where we were trying to head, but we learned things along the way that we wouldn't have learned otherwise. So while you might be discontent with yourself right now because you don't see where that side road took you, eventually, in some years from now, you'll go down another path and be like, wait a minute, this is familiar. And you'll be like, oh yeah, this is the path that I took forever ago. And you'll be like, okay, it's coming in handy right now. And so it's important. So don't discount yourself. Don't be like, oh man, I wasted that time. Because in truth, you don't waste anything. You just live a story. You just live your life. And you're not graded on that. 3, what you put out into the world is important. Everything that you do is a gift, and you are a gift yourself. Right? So remember to picture yourself and everything that you do as a gift. Because that's all you can do. You can only give to the world. You can only add to the world. And that's beautiful. And then 4, a whole lot of that, like when you die, right? Because everyone dies. Spoiler. When you die.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. When you die, here's something. You're going to look back. You're not going to go, wow, those 4 years that I did that, I did that one type of art that like not even going to use. That's not going to matter. That's not going to be like God's going to, whether you believe in God or not, if there is a God, he's not going to be like, oh, you decided for 4 years to do that type of art that you weren't going to do for like the rest of your life. Wow. Yeah. You go to hell. Like, no, don't worry about it because it's not a big deal. All right. When you look at another person's art and it makes you feel bad inside because you know they're better than you, good. Why? Because that can inspire you. Don't let it put you down. All they can do is be like, because here's the thing. I write music for a living. I hear all sorts of different kinds of music. And I'm like, man, I wish I would have written that song.
Mm-hmm.
And then you know what I can do? I can be like, wait a minute. I can't write that song. Someone already wrote it. But what I can do is I can learn from them. And I listen to the song and I'm like, okay, they did that effect right there. Okay, I can pick that out. Oh, I like how they did that transition. That was really cool. Oh, I like how they kind of pulsated the music a little bit right there so they could bring in that other thing, that other instrument right there. That was really cool. Let's try doing some of that. So I open up a file and I start working on it, right? It's the same thing for art. You look at someone's art and you're like, wow, that's really good. Instead of going, wow, that's really good. I'm terrible. I suck. I'm never going to be that good. Go like this. Wow, that's really good. What can I do to learn from that? When you see someone else and they have virtue, when you look at someone and they're like, wow, that person is just like the kindest, sweetest, most wonderful person I've ever met. They were looking out for me the entire time I was around them. And they were like, hey, and they were making me cookies. And that was really cool. Like, this person is awesome.
Cookies.
Yeah, cookies. You know what you do when you find someone like that? One, you celebrate that. You let them know, man, I appreciate you. You do all these awesome things. You are so nice. You are so sweet. You're so kind. That's amazing. The second thing you go, how can I do that? If you see something in somebody else that you like, the best thing you can do is try to start doing that yourself. That applies to virtue, right? So you see someone else and they're really patient, right? The best thing you can do, if you are inspired by their patience, don't go be envious. Don't be like, man, they're so patient. I hate them because I'm not that patient. That would be backwards. You go, oh, wow, they're really patient. I should try to learn how to be that patient too. Maybe I could ask them, hey, how did you learn to become so patient? Like, what's your mindset on these things? Can you help me become patient like you are? They would love to. It's the same thing for art. You look at someone's art and they're like, wow, this is so good. I'm not that good yet. I fail in some of these areas. How did you learn to do this? How did you learn how to do that stroke? Can you show me that stroke with your hand? I want to figure out how to do that. Because we learn from each other. That's what part of being, that's what, like, humans, we're not working all alone separately. When you see someone else progressing, when you see someone's art and it's incredible, you don't go, okay, I'm going to remove myself and never have contact with that person ever again. That would be weird. No, we're all in this together. We're all here on Earth, right? Some of us are in outer space. That's fine. Those people are with us too, because they're doing something that creates goodness for us on humanity. They're out there redoing research that we get to use here on Earth. And it's the same thing. If you see someone's art that's really good, go, okay, that's a new development in art. I want that technology. Can you show me how you did that? Because I want to do that. I want to emulate that. Allow other people's art. Now, you said, you were tracing people's art and stuff like that. Good. And yes, you are right. You need to get out on your own to do the challenge, to challenge yourself and learn how to do it without tracing. Yes, absolutely. But you also get to utilize the strengths of other people when you see them, right? You don't copy people outright and try to plagiarize, but you do look at what they make and figure out, this is a really good thing. I want my stuff to have that good thing in it. So I'm going to try my best to do something similar, right? So all I'm saying here, ultimately, I'm taking a really long time to say it, is when you look at other people's art, don't be discouraged. Celebrate it because it's good, so that you can develop the skills to do the same thing. Because if you don't celebrate it and instead you just get mad, it's going to take you a whole lot longer to learn those skills because your mind's not going to be the right attitude to learn them. You're just going to despise them and the art that they make. And then you'll never learn how to get those good talents. So it's better to look at what they make and go, I want to celebrate that and I'm going to try to do it myself. You don't have to copy them, right? But there. So anyways, the other thing, okay, so earlier I said I'm going to suggest something that was kind of opposite of what Joe was suggesting. I'm going to tell you to take Joe's advice, which is when you get that anxious feeling, that's excitement, take action, right? If you're feeling compelled, take action. Mm-hmm. But one time I'm going to suggest this, one time, just do this, okay? This is going to be hard, Swilk. Okay, I'm going to suggest something and it's going to be difficult. Okay? It's going to be very difficult, but you can get through it. And when you get through it, things are going to be different. Okay? A lot of things are going to be different. It's a challenge. Okay? Are you ready? It's not easy. You pick a day. You pick a day on your calendar where you don't have like let's if you are you working right now? Maybe you're not working right now. I don't know. You pick a day on your calendar and you say, this is the day where I do nothing. And I want you to go on that day. I don't want you to lay in bed and just fall asleep over and over again. Okay? I don't want you to be playing around on your phone. I don't want you to be sitting down at your computer. I don't want you to be drawing. I don't want you to be studying. I don't want you to be doing anything. For 24 hours, you sit, or maybe not 24 hours, like entire sleep schedule. So however long you normally stay awake, 16 hours. For 16 hours, this is hard, but get me. 16 hours, you sit in a chair, awake, doing nothing. Stare at a wall. Seems crazy.
That is hard.
That it's very difficult. But you know what it does? You'll be surprised. It does more than I'm telling you right now. You do that, the next day, you'll be ready to work, man. You'll be ready to work your butt off. But here's the thing. You take one day. Yeah, I know I can't do that, Hyrule says.
Sure you can.
Senate, you say that's an ADD/ADHD nightmare. I've done it. Okay? You sit there in a chair and you do nothing except for stare at a wall for like 16 hours. I did it for 21 hours, okay? What happens is this.
I've never done that.
You wake up the next day and you realize there's no reason to get all caught up and anxious over this stuff. I just did nothing for 16 hours. I'm still alive. In fact, I'm ready to go. Let's get kicking. Let's do something that's going to be awesome. I just took a whole 16 hours off and did nothing, and life is still okay. Nothing died. Nothing stopped working. The universe continued forward. I did a bunch of thinking. I just sat there for doing nothing except for thinking, like in my head, like, that's an idea. Oh, that's a cool idea. Oh, that's a cool idea. Oh, that's a cool idea. For like 16 hours straight. Wow, I'm really good at thinking. Yeah, you're going to be like, man, I'm doing nothing. I can't believe I'm doing nothing. But then when you do it, you're like, I just did it. I just did something. That's hard. You know how many people have done that in life? Not very many. But you know what? It creates willpower. It creates strictness with self. It creates the ability to pass through situations without freaking out because you know everything's going to be all right. Whether you just do something now and immediately and figure it out and get it done, or you take your time with it. You realize it's okay either way. Things pass. Life goes on. And it's okay. I mean, it's true. There are so many situations where it's like something happens and our immediate instinct is like, I got to do that. I got to fix that. I got to like, and it's really urgent and I'm freaking out. You know what? You could literally just disappear and come back 32 hours and reappear and be like, wait, what do you mean it's solved? Wait, like it fixed itself? It did? Oh, okay, cool. Or what do you mean it's not solved yet? Oh, but we can still solve it? Oh, okay, so I can take my time. Well, it is somewhat urgent. Oh, okay, well, I mean, okay, I'll do it today. It's like, no, I didn't eat, little miss. I didn't eat during that time. It was it was no eating, no. I might have. I don't even think I drank any water. I would suggest drinking water if you do it. But let me tell you, Swilk, if you can get yourself to stare at a wall, that's what I'm going to call it, stare at a wall. Literally just do nothing for 16 hours, you realize that you're okay. It's going to be okay. And there's no reason to get anxious because it's just okay. So anyways, I'm going to suggest you to try that once. Pick a day and do it. Obviously drink. That stuff's good. And
you also might try stepping up to the full day. Like you might try starting with half a day.
Yeah. You could try for 8 hours instead of 16. Mm-hmm. And then try 16 later. Yeah, you could try that.
Yeah.
That might make it easier. Yeah.
I mean, Ryan's a beast. He can do that kind of stuff. Like just like I'm shutting it all off right now. Boom, cut off.
Right.
Bang. It's like, yep. 21 hours later,
I emerge.
Yeah. And goes to bed.
Mm-hmm. And then I go to bed. I emerge and I go to bed. That's really the truth of it. So I know that sounds crazy, and I'm not going to explain to you all that it does. But I want to challenge you that. And if you succeed on that challenge, you'll notice there's something different about you, okay? You will be thankful you did the challenge. And you will be ready the next day to be like, you know what? Life is awesome. Let's do something. And let's not feel bad about the past. Let's just go. Because I can. I can do a lot. I can stare at a wall for 16 hours straight. Not many people can. So, might feel like a lot of work, even though you're doing nothing. So, anyways,
definitely a challenge, that's for sure.
I'm going to challenge you that. That's my challenge. And I know it's hard, but yeah, the last thing I want to talk about is this. I'm going to make it short. Swilk, you've probably heard me say this before, but there is a high suicide rate in Korea. It's higher than in America. There's a high suicide rate in Japan. Again, higher than America. You want to know why? People say, oh, it's because they work too many hours. No, they work too many hours because they believe something. Their cultures have decided that your value as a human being is equal to the product that you put out, the effort that you put out, how much you're helping the people around you, how much are you giving to society? Mm-hmm. What are you doing? What you do determines your value. And that is so much stress. It only creates stress, right? And I think that's might be what you're feeling right now, Swilk. That stress of, I have to do this so that I can be valuable. I have to put out valuable content. I have to put out things that look good for the world so that I can be valuable as a person. Or you're basing your value as a human being off of the talent that you have, or off of the product that you put out, or off of the amount that you change people's lives or help people or whatever, right? That mentality, yes, it gets people moving, but it also creates the highest suicide rate known to mankind in all of history. That is the number one cause for suicide. Did you know that? It's the belief that your value as a human being is equal to your efforts. You know what? That's why I gave you this challenge. Because you will take a whole day and do nothing. And you realize at the end of that, you're still you. And your value didn't change. And you are still capable of all the things you were capable of before. Your potential is just as high. And you're better off from it. You did nothing. And somehow you emerge better. You're like, how does that make sense? Do you know, one of the things is in Christian life, you take one day out of every 7 days off. You're supposed to take them completely off. Most people don't. They've done a study where people who've taken that one day off and did nothing on that day, no work, were like 3 times more productive on the days that they did work. So they produced way more over a week than the people who are working that one extra day.
Yeah.
They're like, how are you getting so much work done? It's like, well, I take one day off. It's like, that doesn't make sense. No, like that doesn't add up. 1 + 1 + 1 + 7 times is more than 1 + 1 times 6. Like, how is that? That doesn't make sense. No, it's because on the days where we do work, our mind is clear. It's not rattled up with this constant, unending adding of work things. There's like no time to unload. We need time off. And we need to, but it's different. We don't need time off where we're just depressed and sitting there doing nothing because we don't want to do anything. What I'm talking about is time off where you set time off and you make that the thing you do so that you can celebrate that time. It's different. So that's why I recommended it, because if your mind thinks, if your perception is of the belief that you as a human being are like your work that you put out is determining who you are and how valuable you are, then the best combat to that is to stop doing, so that your brain can get back on track and say, it doesn't matter if I'm putting out stuff that's as good as other people. It matters what you do, but it doesn't determine your value as a human being. It doesn't change your dignity. It doesn't do any of that. And so we need to take time off. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to say that final thing because I know that, like I said, a lot of reason for suicide is that belief, like, and they look back at their life and they're like, oh geez, I've wasted so much time. I can never catch up. I'm never going to be as good as these other people. I'm not as smart in school. I'm not going to be a doctor. My parents want me to be. I'm not going to, there's all this stuff. I've got so much work to catch up on. I can never do it. And it just drains you. And then you look at yourself and you say like, and you can't help but tell yourself like, man, I'm a terrible person. I'm not good enough. It's because we're rating ourselves off of just the productivity of other people. And that's just no way to do it. So don't go down that road. It is very unhealthy. So yeah. Anyways, Joe, did you have anything you want to conclude with before we finish this stream?
Yes, I want to say, Swilk, you made the BSS feather.
Yeah. And we want to use that like everywhere.
Enough said.
Yeah, so no, you're really awesome. You're really creative. I don't seriously, you're really good. So you have nothing to be worried about.
You're awesome. And I look forward to getting to know you better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
awesome. Well, thank you guys for the stream. We've gone over just a little bit. So hopefully no one's mad at us, but I'm sure everyone's.
I'm mad at us.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Cool.
You're like, good.
Good. Be mad. That doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
I can't fix what's done.
People say mad is a bad thing, but that's just a wrong label.
Yeah, that's just misunderstanding mad.
That's right. So awesome. Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I put the mad into Madam.
Whoa. Whoa.
It's the only thing I could come up with. All right.
I don't
so
think you
anyways,
do, actually.
Thank you guys for being here. We love you. You guys are amazing. Thank you for the help that you've given us, Jesse, Princess, Senna, and of course Joe.
Of course.
And everybody in the chat with all your comments, keeping things real, keeping things going. You guys are amazing. We love you, and we will see you on Monday. Because we do this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday now. If you guys didn't know, we do. We just Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Plenty of options. Yeah. So, of course, we do a stream on Twitch over the weekends playing video games. Feel free to join then. Join there. Princess will probably post a thing and a link for you guys. There it is.
Hey, yeah. Look at that.
With that, have a wonderful rest of your day / night, and we will see you on Monday. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Love you guys. Monday Night SmackDown.